Hello, hello. It is Erica with Holy Rustic and Redheaded Princess Designs. And I haven't been live for a very long time. This month has been crazy with the end of school and the beginning of summer and all the things. But here we are to paint this month's BOGO, which is our patriotic window. So I've got my insert here and I have my window kit. So let's get started. This is going to be so cute and I can't wait to see yours finished. Remember, you can grab your BOGO for this month through the end of the month. So you have a few days left to do it. You're going to use the code BOGO window, BOGO window, all one word. You're going to put 2 of these in your cart and you're going to get one for free. So it's a great way to have a little craft night at home with some friends or just have some time for yourself. So let's switch our cameras around here and get started. I'm going to open this up. Come in, say hey, let me know how your Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday. Monday holidays drive me crazy. They get me all out of whack. Anybody else get all discombobulated with a Monday holiday? All right, so we're going to start with the window. We have painted one of these before on here, but since it is part of the BOGO, and almost everybody who ordered this BOGO kit so far has gotten the window base and the insert. So I want to go over how to paint the window base. I'll make sure we're in the middle of the camera here. Okay, so you're going to get all of your pieces for your window, and we're going to set these to the side. There's actually quite a bit in here that you don't have to paint because it doesn't end up being seen. And then we have different inserts for this window on our website. I debated on doing this one in black, but since it is black in the example photo, we're going to go ahead and do this in black. But you could do it in any color you want. You could do it in a brown. You could have a white window. You could even do a color if you want, although I don't know that I would suggest that because it does make it a little bit harder than for the inserts to figure out what goes with it. But a nice neutral color is a good idea, because we do have all the different kinds of inserts for this, and we'll be having even more for all the seasons, so you can switch it out. So it's just a cute little piece to set around your house and switch it out for the seasons. You know I love a good interchangeable, so this is a fun one. This piece is the back. It says back down here. These are very nicely labeled for you. So when you get them, it's pretty easy to tell which piece goes where. So this is your back piece. And I'm just painting basically around the window frames. Not much of this piece actually ends up showing because we're going to put piece A on top. So you can see there's just a small little square around each one of the little windows that ends up showing. So that's all I'm going to paint on that piece there. We're going to set that to the side. This is the front of your window. It is labeled A. So we're going to base coat this in the black as well. I do apologize for not being live sooner this month. I know we have lots to catch up on. We need to do the Wagon Club and the Tier Tray Club for the month. And then I also need to get this month's DIY Kit of the Month Club video posted. But the end of the school year just gets so crazy with all the things. And so time got away from me. But we are here now, and I'm hoping to get some semblance of a schedule for summer so that we can go live and paint together, because I do enjoy being here with you all. And I know that you guys like seeing the videos and stuff. Of course, this will be posted onto our Facebook group. If you are not already a part of our Facebook group, it is our free group here on Facebook. It's just a place where you can find video tutorials and also where you can locate different sales and stuff for kits. So go join that. It is a Holy Rustics Craft Kits group. There's no cost to join it. It is free here on Facebook, so you can join that. And then we always grab the videos and drop them over onto our YouTube channel when we're finished, so it makes it easy for you to find when you're ready to paint your pieces. All right, so we just gave this a nice quick coat of black. Easy peasy. I'm going to move that over to the side for just a moment, and let's talk about all of these pieces that are going to go with your window. So you should have 4 sticks. These do not need to be painted. You're going to have 2 scallopy edges. We are going to paint those. And then you've got all your pieces here that make this interchangeable. None of these need to be painted. There are some directions on here. This one says glue to A, and then you should have 2 that look like this. So we're going to stack all those up. Those don't need to be painted. And then this piece here, it does say front plate down here at the bottom. We're going to paint this black as well, and we're going to paint these 2 scallopy guys black. So there's a decent amount over there that we don't need to paint at all because they're not going to be seen. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a quick coat of the black also. If you're here, say hello. Let me know how your Tuesday, I'm going to call it Monday all day long, Tuesday is going. My plan after we get done here is to grab the DIY kit of the month kit, which is this cute little flip-flop sign, and we're going to get that painted up for you guys because those have gone out, and I know that some people are probably eager to get theirs painted, so we'll get that video posted for you all. Then I've got orders to get out today. It seems that maybe USPS or UPS has either not scanned in some of our orders or lost some of them, so I need to go figure out what's going on with those because I've gotten a couple messages today about orders that the labels have been printed, but it doesn't look like they're moving, which is not good. So it feels like Monday, doesn't it, Kenna? I know. All right, I'm going to grab the dryer. We're going to give this a quick dry so we can do some dry brushing on here. I know everybody always wants to know, how do you get it to look rustic? And so that's what I'm going to show you next. And then we'll glue this window together, and then we'll paint the cute little insert. It's perfect for Memorial Day, 4th of July, all summer long. I'm just giving this a quick dry here. It is important when you do the dry brushing that your piece is dry. So make sure you get everything nice and dry before you do the next step, because a lot of times otherwise your paint will mix or your brush will drag through the wet paint, and you won't get the look that you're looking for. We don't have any classes this week. It is the last week of school for some people. Oliver's last day was Friday. I cannot believe that he graduated 8th grade and is now a freshman officially. It seems a little crazy, and I know the next 4 years are going to fly by. So we don't have any classes, but coming up in June, there are some classes posted. We've got the mermaid class at Shirelli's Pizzeria, our kids axolotl class, which is almost completely full. We have a summer doormat class at 812 Pizza coming up in June, which is also getting pretty full. So check all those out because some of those classes are filling up. Believe it or not, I know a lot of times our summer classes do not fill up, and so you have plenty of time to wait until the last second. But I would encourage you, if there's a class that you really want to be at, go ahead and grab those tickets now because there's a good chance that some of those classes may fill up because I did not put as much on the calendar this summer. Just knowing that a lot of times people are busy and have things to do. And so we did limit the classes a little bit, which does mean they're going to fill up a little bit faster. All right, I'm looking for a brush here. Okay, so for our dry brushing, I'm just going to take a clean, dry brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of white. The doormats are so fun, and I cannot wait to see. We're going to do the strawberry design at 812 Pizza, and I can't wait to see how everyone's turns out. All right, so I've gotten a little bit of white paint on my brush. The key to the dry brushing is to not have very much paint on your brush. So I kind of load my brush up and then I just wipe most of the paint off on the side of my plate. So I've got my paint plate over here. I'm just kind of taking some of that paint off by running that brush over the edge of the plate. You could also wipe it off on your paper towel or towel. And then I'm going to very lightly pull my brush across. Don't get too worried about this, because if you get too much or you're not loving the way it looks, it's not a big deal, because you can just come back with some of that black and go back over top of it. And so I'm just barely brushing across. You can tell I haven't come back and gotten any more paint. I'm just coming up and down and back and forth across here to add a little bit of character to the front of my window. I'm working on the piece that says A, so this is the front. I am not loving this big chunk of white that kind of ended up right there. So I'm going to grab a little bit of black and just go back over top of it. And it's easy as that. You can cover that back up. Okay. You don't want to have to repaint everything, but it is easy to come back and just do a little touch up if needed. So I'm just going to drag a little bit more of that white right over my window panes. And for the window, I kind of follow the direction that window paint. So you can see I went left to right here. I'm going to go left to right here on this middle piece. And then on the, what is this, vertical pieces, I'm going to go up and down with my brush. So you can also go both directions. It really doesn't matter. Kind of whatever you want. Just remember, you want super light pressure with that brush, and you want to be sure that bottom layer is nice and dry before you come in and do that. All right, let's glue. Let's do a little, well, okay, so this piece here, this is your front plate, and we're gonna, your sign that goes in your window slides in and out of here, so you're not gonna see this piece very much. What you are gonna see is these little scallopy edges, so we should add a little bit of dry brushing to them. Ooh, that was a lot. That's okay. We can fix it. A little bit of dry brushing on these guys, because they are going to be visible. You could wait until you glued them down if that's easier. Sometimes I don't always work the easiest way. And I am getting a little bit of the dry brush on my front plate here, but I'm not worried about it, because again, this is going to be covered up when you put your interchangeable pieces in and out. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's look at, this is the piece that says back. You can see it's got the word back etched in here. I'm not worried about this piece adding any dry brushing to it, because again, you're not going to see very much of it. You're just barely going to see around the little bits of window there. So let's go ahead and glue these puppies together. All of our kits include a tube of glue. It is usually E6000. I will say we have had mass amounts of trouble getting E6000 in this year. Going to guess it has something to do with tariffs. Even though it is made in the USA, I'm wondering if the bottle is not. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but every time I order it, it seems to take about a month for it to come in. So there have been a few kits lately that we have put a similar glue in, but not the E6000. But whatever you get, it's going to be very similar to the E6000, meaning that this is not a quick dry glue. It does have a dry time on it. You're going to want to let everything lay flat for 24 hours to make sure that your pieces are nice and secure. And I like this because it does give us just a little bit of wiggle time if we need to move things around. So I just put a thin layer of glue around. You don't need very much, just a dot, not a lot. And we're just going to line those edges up. And there is the main part of our window. Okay. And we're going to work on adding our other pieces in. So we're going to grab all of these guys over here. This one says glue to A. So remember, this one is labeled A. We're going to grab our E6000 and we're going to glue this puppy down. This is what creates the shelf for your interchangeable pieces to slide in and out. So this piece just goes right here. No, I did not paint it. It's going to be fine because it's going to be covered up. If that stresses you out, I know I'm talking to you, my type A people. It is okay. You could paint it. It's not the end of the world. I just don't see any need to paint something that I'm not going to see. And just know, if you paint it, if you bought the kit from us, you're probably not going to have enough paint. So you're going to just make sure you have some black paint on hand if you're going to paint those pieces, because you're not going to have enough paint with the paint that we gave you in the kit if you decide to paint all these pieces. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more glue. So I'm just stacking these up, creating a big old sandwich here. And we're just putting some glue here. This is going to be our front plate. It's going to go on here. So notice I put the glue on this piece and not on here. Where are we at? There we are. Because if I put glue on here, I'm probably going to get glue where I don't want it. So put the glue down here first. Really lagging behind for some reason. All right, there we go. So there's our front plate. It says front plate down here at the bottom. And then we've got all of our pieces, 2 scallopy pieces and 4 sticks. So for these little sticks here, there's a little etched line. They're going to go right here over top of this etched line. We need just a little bit of glue. I don't want it seeping out everywhere. We're going to stack these up. This is what's creating that slide that your pieces can go in and out. So we're stacking 2 on top of each other on each, the top and the bottom of this front plate. And I will say this window, once you get it all glued together, is a pretty hefty piece, which is nice because it means it's not going to fall over or anything on you. All right, so there is that. Just kind of making sure everything is lined up on the edges. And then we've got our scalloped pieces. We're going to throw a little bit of glue on here. And they're going to go down here to cover that up. Whoop, there we go. Just make sure you've got them pulled out and spaced correctly. Put the lid on this glue because it is going every which direction. All right, there we go. And this piece goes right here. Now, if you wanted, you could take some clamps and kind of secure all of this, or even some painter's tape. I'm just going to make sure everything's nice and straight. You want to be sure you have these scalloped pieces pulled back right up to that edge so that your middle piece here doesn't get too small and your pieces won't slide in and out. But that's what we've got. You can see the sides here. I'm going to let this lay flat while we work on our other piece. Now, if you really have a lot of trouble with everything sliding around, you could also use some super glue in with your E6000, and that'll kind of have everything hold a little bit better. Honestly, this is pretty solid, so I'm not going to worry about it because I know once it dries, it will be just fine. All right, let's grab our insert. So this is the America insert. Again, it's perfect for 4th of July. And this is the one that is on special this month. Buy one, get one free. You can get the whole window kit. You can get just the insert or just the window. So whichever one you want to do. But if you buy 2 of them, you'll get one for free. We're going to do our little plate first. So the plates, if you look at our picture here, they slide in and out down in that piece where the scallops are. So here's the 2 pieces with the scallops, and that plate just slides in and out. And there's different ones for all the kits. So we're going to do this in that blue. I've got a couple different colors of blue over here. I'm going to go with my softer light blue here. And I don't paint the edges of our pieces. They have that nice wood burn look from being inside the laser, and I like that. I think it makes it look nice and finished. If you prefer to paint the edges, you certainly can. It may affect the way things work in your interchangeable, so just be aware of that. If you get a bunch of paint on the sides, you may need to take a nail file or a tiny piece of sandpaper, just sand everything down. All right, so we're just giving this a quick coat of that light blue. There we go. And then our letters are going to be red. And I don't know that I grabbed any makeup sponges. Let's see if we've got one here on the table. I knew there was something else I needed before I hit play, and I completely got sidetracked and forgot about it. And I don't see any over here. Oh, bummer. All right, y'all, hang tight. I'm going to grab a makeup sponge. Okay, I apologize. I've got makeup sponges here. So this is what we'll use to paint our letters. Thought I had some here, but I didn't see them. So these sponges, we include one sponge with every kit. They work really well to paint your little pieces, like your letters. If I take my brush and brush over these letters, I'm going to push a bunch of paint down into the little grooves, and we don't want that. So I use the rectangle end of the makeup sponge, and you don't want very much paint on there. I don't want big globs. And then it's just tap up and down with that sponge, and that keeps the paint from going all over the edges. It keeps the paint from getting pushed down into the little grooves. The trick is each time you reload your sponge, just kind of offload it. That's where we just kind of tap over on something else to make sure you don't have big globs of paint on there. There we go. I'm here stirring in the teenager's room, and I did not close my studio door because he was sound asleep a second ago. All right, so there is that. Those are all of our letters. Just set those over to the side for right now. Let's go ahead and work on what we need to over here. So this is going to be blue. Our letter S is going to be red. I'm just going to go ahead and paint whatever I need red with the sponge so that I can clip it and then be able to do all the rest of my pieces. All right, so these are pieces to our pinwheel. So I'm going to do the smaller inside pieces of the pinwheel with the red and the sponge. I want one of these stars here to be red. And then we need the stripes on our hats to be red as well. And you can mix these colors up however you want. If you want to get real creative and come up with your own color scheme, you are more than welcome to do that. You do not have to follow the picture. We give you the paint so that you can paint it like the picture. That is not a necessity. Do whatever makes your heart happy. All right, so I think that should be all of my red pieces. So what I'm going to do is take my makeup sponge and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to clip the end of that sponge. So now it is clean and I can use a different color. So we're going to grab our navy blue. I'm going to do navy blue next. Yeah. Grab our navy blue. We're going to do all of these. One of our stars. It would help if I'm looking at my picture upside down over here, and I don't know why I'm doing that to myself. Just making my life harder than it needs to be. And then our stars and stripes. And all of this is going to be in our darker navy blue. So again, I loaded my sponge. I tapped over on the side. And some of these pieces, like this hat band is bigger. I could definitely paint this with my brush, but since I've got the sponge here and we're doing the navy blue, we're just going to go ahead and do it with our sponge. Here's our little pinwheel pieces, and then our little stars and stripes. One of our bigger stars. And this is kind of how I like to do it. I like to just kind of pick the pieces that I need, paint all the things that are that color, and then I move to the next color. You could do it section by section if that's easier for you. Sometimes if the kit has a bunch of pieces, I might do, little pieces of it at a time because it gets a little complicated. But this one doesn't have too many, so I think it's okay. All right, we're going to clip that sponge again. And we need yellow. I forgot to get yellow out. This is not very yellow, but I think it'll be okay. So we're going to grab some yellow. Remember that yellow is very translucent, so you're probably going to need a couple coats of yellow on whatever you're painting yellow, because that first coat isn't going to have very much coverage. You could also add a little bit of white to the yellow if you want, so that you don't have to do so many coats. It's totally up to you, but I think 2 coats of this will cover pretty well. We should be okay. We'll give this a quick coat. We've got our little pennant banner, our 3 stars that go on the middle of our top hat, and our fireworks. And we're going to dry these real quick. I know we've moved here. There we go. Sorry, I don't know why, but I tend to work right here on the very edge of the table, and then I forget that the camera isn't positioned that far down. All right. Just giving these another quick coat of the yellow, and then they should be good to go. Anytime you're going to do more than 1 coat, just let that first coat dry. The wood soaks up the paint pretty quick, so it won't take very long for it to dry. Okay, there's our yellow pieces. And we need to do white. So we're going to clip that sponge again. We've got 1, 2, our little dot for the center of our pinwheel, and these 2 stripes that are white. Same thing as before, offloading that sponge and just tapping. Again, I could do this with my paintbrush, but since we're doing the sponge, we're just going to go ahead and paint these guys while we're here. Definitely going to need 2 coats of the white, just like we did the yellow. On your stars in your kit, one of them has a little chunk taken out of that. That is the one that goes over here by the pinwheel. So it's not a mistake. It is the one that goes up next to the pinwheel, and it'll make sense when we start gluing everything down. But just be aware of that. If you start looking at them and you're like, oh my gosh, my star is missing a point, it's supposed to be like that. All right, let's give these a quick dry, and we'll give them a second coat. All right. And we'll give everything another quick coat of white. There we go. That second coat really makes such a difference, and everything really gets covered so well. That one. We do have a sale going on right now as well for Memorial Day, our kickoff to summer sale. So buy 2, get 1 free on all of the kits on our website. You're going to use the code MDAY25, and that'll give you buy 2, get 1 free off of any of the kits on our website. So if you're looking for something to do for the summer, or you want to get a jump start on your Christmas fall crafts, you can go check those out. It's good through tomorrow. So go grab those while they're on sale. It's a really good deal. All right, I'm using the light blue. I did the band of the hat here and the little letter U. And then this back piece is also going to be that light blue. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush to do that. And we'll just paint this whole thing. Most of this is going to get covered up with the interchangeable pieces. So I'm not going to be too particular about it, but there is a few little things that show underneath, like the stars and the fireworks. So I want to be sure I get those areas with a coat of this light blue. And again, I'm not going to paint the edges. I'm just being careful as I'm pulling my brush to pull at a horizontal angle here so that my brush bristles aren't going down over the side of my piece. And then if they do, you can take a baby wipe or your finger or whatever and just kind of wipe them off real quick before the paint dries. And that'll keep your edges nice and clean if you're concerned about that. All right, let's finish beating this guy up. I don't know why I'm holding him at such a weird angle. I should have just moved all these pieces, but it's okay. It's fine. All right, that should be good there. We're going to give that a quick dry, and then we'll be ready to glue everything down. So you can tell this paints up pretty quickly. We have only been on here for 30 minutes, and I've been yakking, and we've gotten the window painted, and all of these pieces are painted. They just need a quick glue, and everything will be ready. We can add our little finishing details. I always add the details after I glue everything down. I just like to do it that way. You can do whatever works best for you, but that's how I like to do it. All right, so we're gonna move this up here. We're gonna grab our glue. I think I'm gonna use this little tube. So it's got some left in it. We don't want to waste. All right, so remember, we need just a dot, not a lot of glue. We don't want glue seeping out from everywhere. I always say you're gonna put it on like you're putting on lipstick. And then we're just matching up our pieces. Remember the star with the chunk taken out of it? He goes over here right up next to that hat. See, now that makes sense. That's where that goes. We've got our other stars over here. And that's not where that goes. I might have mixed these up when I painted them, but that's okay. They're not exactly like the picture, but that's fine. All right. Our little fireworks. It's going to go right here. And then our hat band and all of our hat stripes. Throw some glue down for those. So there's our little band and our stripes. Oh, sticking to me. All right, let's see. I think you're gonna go right there. It's just like putting together a puzzle. There we go. And then we've got the 3 stars that go on here. So there's a 1, 2, 3 stars. This little pennant banner goes on the hat, kind of just on the corner here, like so. And then we've got our words that say stars and stripes. That's going to go right there. And our little pinwheel. So the pinwheel gets a white center. And then you have little red pieces that go all the way around, like so. And then your bigger blue pieces here. And again, there's one that has a chunk out of it, and that's the one that goes up close to the top hat there. All right. There are those. So see what I mean with the piece that has it doesn't have a point on the end. So that's the one that goes up next to the top hat. And then we've got our USA. So make sure I put this on here right because I've got it upside down. You could take a toothpick and or a Q-tip and put the glue on the bladders if you want. I just kind of try not to get them too crazy. Yeah, I definitely mixed up those. We're gonna have to fix that because I made the S red and that star that goes there is also red. But it's fine. We can adjust it. Let's just paint him yellow. Let's take him off. And we'll make him yellow. Because I need a couple coats because I'm going over red. Yellow might not have been the best choice. I probably should have done white. It's fine. We've got yellow on there now. We're going to embrace it. I mixed up the stars. I should have made this star red and that star white, but it's fine. No one's going to know except for all of you. With me. It's taking a couple coats because I'm going over top of red paint. And so it's pulling that red underneath. I could have put white on here and it wouldn't have been quite so difficult. But it's okay. This is what I always say. It's just paint. It's not a big deal. If you mess it up, you don't like the color it is, you can always paint over top of it. It is not the end of the world, my friends. It is just paint. There are plenty of things in life to stress about, and paint is not one of them. All right, there we go. I kind of like the yellow. All right, and then we have our America. So let's glue this puppies down, and then we'll add our details. So this one's just so fun and easy to do. If you ordered yours, let me know in the comments and let me know. We'd love to see pictures when you paint it. You can post those over on our craft kits group because I enjoy seeing all of your photos with your pieces. The letters are etched here, so I'm just lining those up with the etching after I put the glue on. It's great. It helps me keep them nice and straight. If you want to, you could seal this with a clear Rust-Oleum spray, but it's totally not necessary if you're leaving it inside. A lot of times I don't seal my pieces simply because I forget. I get busy and it just doesn't happen. But you could seal it if you wanted. It does keep it from getting all scuffed up. All right, so there we have our insert. Whoop. And our little words. All right, we need to add our details, and I want to put some splatter on here. So I am looking for my fan brush. Well, I don't see her anywhere. So we might just use this one. Oh, no, there she is. Finded it. All right, I love using a fan brush for splattering. So this is a fan brush. You can tell the brushes come out into a fan. When we splatter, we're going to get our paint nice and liquidy. So I'm going to take a couple drops of water from my water glass. I'm not worried that my water is dirty. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white. And I want my paint to be pretty thin. And I don't want a whole bunch of paint on here because I don't want big glops of splatter. I just want little bits of splatter. And I'm just going to splatter everything. So I'm just going to come over top my piece and tap with my brush. I'm keeping that brush in my hand and it's loose so that as I tap, it will move. And we're just going to splatter the heck out of this. There we go. When you do that, move anything that you don't want splatter on. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have put splatter all over my phone or my computer or all the things because it's going to go everywhere. There's just no getting around that. All right, we're going to give all that a quick dry. I don't want to smear any of it. I might have got a little carried away with it, but that's okay. I was trying to show you guys. And then we'll add in our details. I'm not going to do anything else to that piece. I think it looks pretty good. Now, this one here, we're going to add some little highlights. So we're going to grab a small liner brush. And I'm going to grab some white. And we're just gonna add a few swipes and swoops. Don't overthink these. You're gonna put them wherever makes your heart happy. It doesn't matter where they go. It just kind of helps draw your eye around and makes everything look just a little bit more finished, but don't stress about where to put them. I know sometimes people do them and they're like, I got to think about where the light source is and all this. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Wherever you put them will be just fine and dandy. Okay. This is just fun, functional art, and so it doesn't matter where you put your highlights. These are just kind of lines to help draw your eye around your piece. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. I'm going to add a few little dots here. And I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Might throw a few dots. The dots aren't really showing up very well because I got really carried away with my splatter. That's okay. Just going to make sure everything's nice and dry, and then we'll go grab our window so you can see how it's going to fit down in there. Just going to make sure I don't smear anything. So let me know if you have any questions. You can drop those here in the comments. Even if you're watching on the replay, I will go back and answer those as I can. Remember, you have through the end of the month to order this month's BOGO kit. You're going to use the code BOGO window, WINDO. You're going to put 2 of these in your cart, and then it will give you 1 for free. And you can grab the entire kit with the window or just the interchangeable, whichever pieces you need. I have had a few people ask if the old interchangeables, like the windmill and stuff, fit inside of the window. They are not sized the same, so they do not. But we will have different interchangeable pieces for this window for all the seasons. So, unfortunately, the designer who was designing the windmill, she is no longer designing, so we don't have any extra, I don't have any new kits for that. All right, so let's tilt you. Hold up just a second. There we go. Maybe. Now I feel like here. All right. There, that's better. Okay, so here's the window. It's not 100% dry, so I don't want to hold it up too long, but I do want to show you. This piece just slides right inside like that, and then your America is going to slide right inside that little frame, and once that glue dries, it'll be easier. It's going to slide just like that. So how stinking cute is that? I'm going to let everything lay flat to dry. I'm not going to leave my interchangeable pieces inside of my window as it's drying. I always think that's important to note, because if I leave those in there, there's a good chance there might be a little bit of glue and it might just get glued in there, and it will forever be a patriotic window and no longer be an interchangeable window. So something to think about. I hope you enjoyed painting this with me. Remember, you can grab your kit through the end of the month. If you paint yours, I'd love to see it. Drop a picture over in our Holy Rustic Craft Kits group, because I would really love to see your finished product. Have a fabulous Tuesday, and I will talk to y'all real soon. Bye, y'all.